Welcome to this explainer. Imagine walking a psychological tightrope right in front of billions of people. We're diving into a phenomenon today that, honestly, just defies basic sports logic. It's this invisible force that completely dictates how athletes perform on the grandest stage in the world. We're talking, of course, about the incredible double-edged sword of hosting the World Cup. Right now, you've got the United States, Mexico, and Canada all playing on their own soil. Now, common sense tells us this should be the single biggest advantage in all of sports, right? Like the absolute ultimate gift. But as we'll see, history tells a much darker, much more complicated story. Playing at home? Well, it might actually be a catastrophic curse. I mean, on paper, the whole setup is perfect. You sleep in your own bed, you know the stadium's inside out, and the crowd is 100% yours. But the reality of how this environment actually impacts human performance, it's stunning. Sometimes that massive crowd energy acts like a tidal wave, and it just lifts a team to victory. But other times, that exact same energy morphs into the suffocating cloud that literally buries them on the pitch. Let's jump into Section 1, the home field myth. So at first glance, the numbers definitely seem to back up this idea that hosting is a massive superpower. 6 host nations have actually won the World Cup throughout history. We're talking about legendary runs here. England, France, and Argentina, all lifting the trophy on home soil. So the historical precedent really screams that playing at home just fundamentally makes you a better, stronger team. And the reasons why, they seem incredibly tangible. First off, you get automatic qualification, which means zero pre-tournament anxiety. You've got absolute familiarity with the pitch. You're literally sleeping in your own bed, which keeps your circadian rhythms totally locked in for peak physical recovery. Plus, the noise, the crowd, they're fully yours. The whole country has your back. It naturally stacks the deck in your favor, which is exactly why an incredible 13 hosts have reached the semifinals. Moving on to Section 2, when the crowd lifts you. You can see this immediate performance boost with our current hosts. Take Canada. They came into this having scored only 3 goals in their entire World Cup history. Then, propelled by this insane home crowd, they dropped 6 goals in a single game against Qatar to get their first ever home win. Mexico became the first team into the knockout stage with 3 consecutive wins, and the USA secured back-to-back wins for the first time in 96 years. For these guys, the roaring crowd acted like pure adrenaline, totally elevating their physical limits. It honestly gets to a point where the momentum feels almost supernatural. The US advanced with a game to spare, and incredibly, they won both of those games thanks to own goals from the opposing team. It perfectly captures this bizarre feeling that when you host the World Cup, the energy is so overwhelmingly magnetic that even the opposition makes mistakes that play right into your hands. But then we hit Section 3, the host nation curse. When you look at the timeline, it proves this is a systemic issue, not just a one-off fluke. 2 of the last 4 hosts, South Africa in 2010 and Qatar in 2022, were knocked out in the group stage. They literally packed their bags before the tournament even truly began. That ultimate advantage that was supposed to guarantee success, it guaranteed absolutely nothing. But the most devastating examples belong to football's most successful nation ever, Brazil. Think back to Brazil in 2014. An entire nation was expecting a coronation. Instead, their semifinal against Germany became the most painful night in host nation history. A 7-1 collapse. It's still the worst collapse in World Cup history. The pressure of the country didn't lift Brazil's athletes, it completely paralyzed them. We saw world-class players basically forget basic defensive structures while grown men just wept in the stands. And that tragedy echoes all the way back to 1950. Brazil was hosting the final against Uruguay. There were 200,000 fans packed inside the stadium, literally the biggest crowd in football history. Brazil only needed a draw to win it all, but they lost. And those 200,000 people went completely dead silent. To this day, Brazilians still refer to it as the day football died in Brazil. Which brings us to Section 4, the psychology of national pressure. Because playing at home sounds super comfortable until you actually realize the terrifying scale of the audience. Think about the nerves you get giving a presentation at work, right? Now multiply that by 1,000,000. You are playing for 200 million people, and one of them is your mother. You aren't just playing for points anymore. You are carrying your family, your city, and your entire nation's pride squarely on your back. And this brings us to the core psychological mechanism at play here. Energy can become anxiety. When athletes are flooded with that much adrenaline, their fight or flight response just kicks into overdrive. Heart rates spike, vision narrows, and the fine motor skills required for elite football actually begin to degrade. So the exact same massive force that drives one player to become a hero physically restricts another, fueling those catastrophic team-wide collapses we talked about. When an athlete steps onto their home pitch under this immense weight, their mental processing completely shifts. Every missed pass or lost tackle is no longer just a regular sporting mistake. In their mind, it's a direct betrayal of millions of people. This intense psychological burden causes world-class athletes to freeze, second-guess their instincts, and suddenly feel like their legs are made of pure lead. Okay, moving to our final part, Section 5, Carrying the Continent's Hopes. So far, all three current hosts have totally embraced the weight. Canada, Mexico, and the United States flew through the group stage with just incredible energy. But here is the crucial takeaway from this explainer. The group stage is the easy part. History proves that the deeper a host goes into the tournament, the heavier that invisible weight becomes. Remember, Brazil flew too, right up until the night they were paralyzed by the pressure. Right now, three nations are carrying the immense hopes of an entire continent. The crowd is watching, the nations are waiting. Will this unprecedented home advantage push them to immortal glory? Or are we about to witness another devastating psychological collapse on the world's biggest stage? The next time you watch a host nation step onto the pitch, ask yourself, are you watching a team being lifted up or a team waiting to be crushed?